Hello, I'm Peter, and welcome to another Tekken Beginner's Fundamental video. Just a quick preface, this video will have some frame data in it, so those of you who don't understand frame data, you should watch my Tekken 103 Fundamentals video here, on frame data. In this video, we will cover the topic of low blocking and while standing moves. Initially, I thought this might be too simple of a topic to cover, but then I remembered some of the mistakes I made when first properly learning Tekken. If you think about it, low blocking in Tekken can be extremely dangerous, but also extremely rewarding at the same time. Since Tekken is one of the few games I can think of that has a while standing state and while standing attacks. We will explore topics such as when to low block, what is while standing state, when to use while standing attacks, and how to use them effectively. Low blocking. Low blocking is done by pressing down back. You can either tap this quickly or press it and hold it for as long as you want. And right off the bat, I'm going to dispel the idea that you can low block with just simply the down input or holding down. While yes, absolutely, you can low block just by pressing down or holding down. See here, I'm pressing down and I can block King's leg breaker, full crouch down forward 1. I can block it. But you really shouldn't do this because why, you may ask? Well, check out King's stagger kicks or alley kicks. Down forward 4 4 4 4. Check out, watch it. Watch what happens when I hold down after being hit by the first hit. See? After being hit by the first hit, the following hits still continue to hit me. And the same thing happens if I try to press down and just tap it as well. I don't block any of the consecutive hits after the first. But now watch what happens when I hold down back. You see that? Holding down back. After being hit by the first one, I can continue to block the rest of the attacks in this string. So please use down back to block lows instead of just simply pressing down. Alright, now that we have gotten how to low block properly out of the way, when should you low block? This is a little bit more complicated of a topic than most people would give it credit for, because unlike traditional 2D fighting games such as Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, where low blocking might be preferred over stand blocking, in Tekken, low blocking is a potential death sentence. Some of the most damaging moves in the game are mids, which go through low block and will launch you for a full juggle. So, if that is indeed the case, when is the risk of low blocking worth it? Here are some rules that I've come up with on low blocking to help you get started on when to low block. Low attacks can be classified into 3 categories: seeable lows, unseeable lows, and unblockable lows, i.e. Yoshimitsu. But fuck Yoshimitsu, we're not gonna deal with no goddamn Yoshi. So let's talk about seeable lows and unseeable lows. Seeable lows typically come out around 23 frames or slower. 23 frames is just a guideline, so this can include moves between 21 frames and 25 frames, depending on the individual and player in their reactions. Examples are Lily's Edelweiss, down back 4, Law's Dragon Tail, down back 4, and Katarina's Slipping Tail, down back 4. Damn, that's a lot of fucking down back 4s and tail named moves. Anyways, you should familiarize yourself with these types of lows as they are 100% meant to be blocked. They are the traditional, what we in Tekken call snake edge moves, after the snake edge god himself, Brian Fury. And the reason they're meant to be blocked is because 1, they are slow, and 2, they dish out substantial damage when they land. Like, look at this shit right here. This does so much damage if not blocked, right? So right now, I just want you to know the threshold for seeable lows. Don't worry if you can't block them right now, it will come with practice and time. If seeable lows are 23 frames and slower, then typically anything faster than 23 frames we classify as unseeable lows. Examples include Jack's down back 1, Brian's down 4, and Shaheen's down 4, and a whole host of other moves. So how do you block these lows then, if indeed they are unseeable? The simple answer? You don't. You just take them. See how much damage Shaheen's down 4 does here? You would have to be hit by this 14 times. Yes, 14. I counted for you. So for the most part, you should just take these lows as acceptable losses. You could equate this to a type of damage like chip damage in Street Fighter or block damage in Mortal Kombat. You just take these as they are, or as Negan would say, "Oh, look at that! Taking it like a champ!" Of course, there are going to be times where you can make a prediction on a chip blow and block it. If your opponent is getting predictable, you can decide to low block. But honestly, if you have the health to spare, you really don't want to take needless risks trying to block a low that does 13 damage. If you're right, great, you've avoided 13 damage. Ooh. But what if you're wrong? Well, then you get to eat this. And quite possibly lose the game. Oh, and before I forget, there are attack strings in the game where you can press down back to duck in between these attacks. The game is absolutely littered with these types of attacks, but here are some examples. You can see here, I'll play it. After you duck, you can potentially get a free while standing punish in transition of while standing, but I'll talk about that later on. While standing state. Now this is the next natural progression when we're talking about low blocking, simply because anytime you finish low blocking, or crouching for that matter, and let go of the down input, you are in something called a while standing state. When you are in a while standing state, you can move almost normally. During a while standing state, you can press back in order to move backwards, forward to move forwards, up to sidestep. The only directional input that you cannot do is down, and that's because you're still partially in a crouching state. Remember, while standing, so you're still in the process of standing. But what really makes while standing state interesting is that you get access to a whole set of while standing attacks. While standing attacks. Anytime you are rising up from a crouch, if you press one of the attack buttons, you will perform a while standing attack. It can be done from a long held crouch like this, or from a very short crouch animation like this, where it's almost unseeable. Doesn't matter, as long as you're crouching and you can perform a while standing attack. Now, I want to say that every character in the game has a minimum of 4 while standing attacks. They correspond with the left punch, right punch, left kick, and right kick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, respectively. Each of the while standing attacks are different for every character, but the general rule is that while standing 4 will be your fastest while standing attack, coming out in 11 frames and hitting mid. Other than that, while standing attacks are unique to each character. Some characters have very good while standing attacks, others have okay while standing attacks, and some have poor while standing attacks. It just depends on the character. When to use while standing attacks. There are 4 main situations where while standing attacks are crucial, at least 4 main ones. The first and foremost is most common, and that's punishing low attacks. This is especially true for low Sabre attacks. Most Sabre lows can be while standing punished for big damage, so take advantage of that. Don't let your opponents get away with them. While faster unseeable lows are harder to punish, it is still a good idea to get into the habit of trying to punish them with the correct while standing moves. Even if early on you get them blocked because you missed the timing. If you're new to Tekken and not sure what to punish with while standing, go ahead, just use while standing 4. It's a good place to start. This is safe even if it gets blocked, and you get more comfortable with the game. You can start using while standing punishes of certain attacks to punish certain... Wow, that made no sense whatsoever. As you get more comfortable with the game, you can start using while standing punishes with more optimal attacks. So if you block a certain attack, then you use a certain while standing attack. So bottom line, if you're not sure, use while standing 4, but otherwise try to use the correct while standing attack. The second key moment to using while standing attacks is when ducking high attacks in strings. For example, Law's Tiger Fang, back 4-3, or Horong's Firecracker, down 4-4, King's Double Hook Disaster, down forward 2-1, Eddie's back 2-4, or Gigas's Vice Grip Hammer, forward 1+2, 1+2, and the examples go on and on and on. The second attack of all these strings is a duckable high attack that can be ducked and launch punished for a full combo damage. If you're a beginner, these attack strings might not be familiar to you. However, as you learn the attacks of different characters, you'll identify opportunities to whiff punish these attacks. You'll get there. Just keep at the game, and over time, you'll get there. The third situation is punishing attacks that force you into crouch. Yes, some attacks in the game can force you into crouch if blocked. Here are some examples, and very common examples. Alisa's inbound kick, up forward 4-4. Brian's boa crusher, forward 4-1. Kazuya's down forward 1-2. And Steve's beatdown, forward 2. All of these attacks force you into crouch and can be while standing punished. These types of situations should absolutely be while standing punished, because if you block them, it's essentially free damage for you. And if you don't while standing punish them, they can be very broken attacks. Now, the last situation to use while standing attacks is to ward off your opponent's high attacks. When you crouch block, you naturally duck under high attacks. So that means you're able to punish them after they whiff. But for beginners, I don't necessarily advocate this because it is based on a prediction or a read. If your prediction is right, great, you get a punish. If your prediction is wrong, you could be launched by a mid while crouching and eat a full damage combo. So like any of these fundamental videos, it wouldn't be complete without a practice section to put into motion what we have learned. In practice mode, choose a character that you want to play or that you're currently playing, and then choose Brian. Alright, if you're new to Tekken, then I highly recommend doing this in order to get into the good habit of while standing punishing. And this includes myself. There's been times where we block a low and then just stand back up and do nothing, right? Or we block a low and use the wrong punish. So this exercise is just to get into the good habit of performing a while standing attack, or to break bad habits, and you know how it goes. Anyways, now go into the menu and under CPU opponent action 1, choose repeat action. Now we have to record the following. Under the actions, record down forward 3, quarter circle back 3, and down back 4. Now, if you notice, we have 2 unseeable lows and 1 seeable low. For this exercise, what I want you to do is remain crouching during this whole time and try out your while standing punishing attacks to figure out which one can get you the most damage and still be registered as a punish. If you do it correctly, it will register as a punish on the screen left here. Then continue to practice punishing these lows until you're moderately comfortable with using your while standing attacks. So, you don't have to do this for hours and hours and hours. It's just something to get you more familiar with while standing attacks. Or you can also use it to optimize your while standing attack punishes. Okay, for this next and final exercise, we will be practicing blocking seeable lows as well as punishing moves that put you into crouch. Alright, go into the menus, under CPU opponent action 1, choose repeat action. Under each of these actions, record the following: down back 3, down forward 3, up forward 4, and forward 4-1. For this exercise, remain stand blocking. Alright, you are at no point supposed to crouch unless you see down forward 3 come out. Then I want you to block low and punish with your biggest punisher, your most damaging punisher. And when you see forward 4-1 come out, I want you to while standing punish accordingly. You're probably wondering, well, what do I do when the opponent hits me with down back 3? Well, here's a little tip. Don't do anything. Down back 3 is going to be the low that we're going to take as an acceptable loss here. This is going to train you to understand that, alright, so I got hit by a chip low. I'm just going to back away, or, I'm going to take the damage. And when up forward 4 comes out, don't press any buttons. Just remain stand blocking. So use this exercise. I think it'll be pretty good for those of you who might be having troubles blocking snake edge. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really hope this helps some of you guys out there with blow blocking and while standing attacks. If you like this video, please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is Peter, and I'm signing out.